If you're a CMO or a business owner who's trying to buy ads right now, you know it's a nightmare. This February, you have Super Bowl and the Winter Olympics in Milan happening at the same time. The demand is unprecedented. NBC announced that they sold out of the entire ad inventory a month before the Olympics even start. Spot rates are through the roof, CPMs are climbing, and it's definitely a seller's market. And brands are paying a premium just to get some airtime. Except for one brand, Omega. While everyone else is in the bidding war for the Olympics 2026, Omega is sitting on the most valuable real estate in sports, and they're paying 2017 prices for it. Omega is not just only sponsoring the Olympics, they're executing one of the most sophisticated financial hedges in modern day marketing. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Omega's $100 million Olympic strategy. We're going to look at the inflation hedge, the infrastructure strategy, and the specific active affluent demographic that makes this the smartest B2B move this year. Let's get into the numbers. First of all, let's talk about the money. The headline you always hear is that Omega is paying $100 million for being the official timekeeper for the Olympics. That's per 4-year cycle. So for 8 years, that's 200 and so on. That sounds really expensive, but you have to look at when they bought the deal. Omega signed their contract with the IOC back in 2017, and that deal locks them in through 2032. So just think about what's happened with media costs since 2017. Inflation has surged, the cost of live sports has exploded. NBC alone nearly paid $8 billion for the TV rights in the US. Normally, broadcasters pass these costs down to advertisers. And that's why Super Bowl spot costs $7 million and why programmatic floors on the Olympics is sitting at $60 CPMs. But Omega is immune to this. They're locked in their cost basis years ago. They're essentially arbitraging the difference between the 2017 deal and the 2026 market value. As viewership rebounds, the early numbers for Milano opening ceremony is up 34% over Beijing. Omega's cost per impression actually goes down. As a CFO, this is definitely the holy grail. Fixed costs in an environment, skyrocketing values and costs. They successfully hedge their media inflation. But the financial hedge is only one part of the story. The real genius is where the brand appears. In marketing, we talk a lot about interruption versus integration. Most brands are interruptions, most ads are interruption. When you're watching a ski race and it suddenly cuts to a commercial for insurance, you pick up your phone, you check Twitter, or you tune out. But Omega isn't the interruption. They are part of the Olympic infrastructure. For Milano 2026, Omega deployed computer vision AI. So we can look at, for example, figure skating events. You'll see graphics popping up in real time with jump height and rotation velocity. This is TV graphics and it's Omega's proprietary data feed, which again, every time it pops up is a new impression per person. They also built the snow gate, the starting gate for alpine skiing, that ensures the clock starts the millisecond the skier moves. Because of their logo is attached to the data, the time, the score, the speed, they are legally mandated to be on screen. The broadcaster cannot cut away Omega without cutting away the time, the speed, or its scores from the screen. This makes Omega immune to ad blockers. It makes them immune to everything else, every other distraction, as long as you're watching the Olympics. And before we go into the third section, which is their demographics, let's just remind ourselves, it's all of the live viewers on TV, it's all of the streaming services that have bought rights to the Olympics, it's all the news with images from the Olympics, it's all of the timetables, scoreboards, whatever, as well as all social media. When you see a clip go viral from the Olympics, is a high likelihood that Omega is in there somewhere. So all of these impressions are essentially on top of what they already paid for. That's free advertising across all platforms for Omega without putting in any more ad dollars. Number 3 is the active affluent demographic. Let's talk about who's actually watching. Marketing isn't just about reach. Obviously, it's about reaching the right people. There's a massive difference between Summer Olympics and Winter Olympics. The data shows that the Winter Olympics viewers, what marketers call active affluent. Households watching these games, the Winter Olympic Games, have an income 20% higher than the national average. They over-index on luxury spending, fine dining, foreign travel, high-end goods. which again aligns perfectly with Omega's pricing strategy. They are not trying to sell you a $50 sneaker. They're selling the new Milano Cortina Seamaster diver that they also launched 3 new watches for the Olympics, which cost over $9,000. When you watch downhill at Cortina, you're not just watching a sport, you're essentially watching a luxury lifestyle. The slopes, the chalets, and the gear. Omega owns this aesthetic. By targeting this specific event, they're hitting a concentrated pool of viewers who can actually afford the product with zero wastage on audience who can. And number 4 is an interesting view on the marketing that Omega does, which is the B2B trust signal. There is one final layer here, which most people miss, and that's the B2B play. Omega doesn't just sell watches to consumers. They sell position as a concept. By serving as the official timekeeper, Omega takes on massive operational risk. They have 550 timekeepers and 350 tons of equipment on site. If the clock fails, the Olympic fails. But when they succeed year over year, measuring to the millionth of a second, build a halo of truth around the brand. So essentially, if I can trust Omega to time the 100-meter final, where a gold medal is decided by 0.005 seconds, I can probably trust them with getting me on my meeting in time. That builds a level of brand trust you simply cannot buy through Facebook ads or billboards. It has to be earned by experience. So is the $100 million price tag really worth it? First of all, they're beating media inflation by locking in 2017 pricing. It's an unskippable ad feature. They're also hitting the wealthiest demographics in sport, and they get distribution to every country in the world, as well as social media impressions, news impressions, and what have you. As well as they are essentially getting all of these other marketing plays for free. They're already paying to be a partner of the Olympics. Essentially, Omega is paying pennies on the dollar for the Olympics. And it's a genius branding play. So while other brands are fighting for scraps of advertising inventory, Omega is just sitting pretty. It's not just a sponsorship, it's essentially a masterclass in business strategy. They didn't buy airtime, they built the clock. So I'm curious, what do you think? Is there any other brand that's this integrated into sports? Maybe Red Bull, maybe Oakley, less visible because they're smaller? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want more of this type of content, please subscribe and I'll be back. See you soon.